How cool would it be able to have your very own totalitarian state, a place you could have complete control over? Continue watching to find 7 easy steps to creating a totalitarian government.
In order to remember these 7 steps, the acronym RGBIV is used. This acronym isn't just used for teaching children the colors of the rainbow. Step 1. Rally against a common enemy. This is your chance to gain the people's trust when they are most vulnerable. If people fear their safety, they will look to the government to keep them protected. In 1984, George Orwell wrote, quote, Oceania was at war with East Asia. Oceania had always been at war with East Asia. Going into war requires an enemy for everyone to hate, or else the war will not be accepted. Find another country with a military powerful enough to scare your people, but not powerful enough to actually defeat you in a war. North Korea realized this during the split of North and South Korea. The PBS documentary says, quote, since the North and South split in the late 1940s, hatred of America has been central to North Korean indoctrination. Step 2. Organize propaganda to be placed everywhere. Propaganda is important to send messages of government power and control to your people. Trick them into believing your new ideologies. 1984 said, quote, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength, to convince the people that these should be left to the government. The PBS documentary states, quote, North Koreans can't escape the omnipresent propaganda. Kim Jong-un's speeches are pumped from speakers on street corners. This one was on loop for 3 months, promising his people a bright economic future. Step 3. Glorify the leader. This step is a fun one. Have your people be forced into recognizing the excellence you are and the hard work you put into every waking moment. O'Brien, a political figure in 1984, says, quote, you must love Big Brother. It is not enough to obey him. You must love him. The PBS documentary states, quote, once a week, whole villages are required to attend meetings glorifying the leader, and follows with, quote, the regime demands displays of total loyalty. If you don't attend these weekly meetings, you could come under suspicion. Step 4. Yes, man. A yes man is someone who agrees with everything you say or do. This is the last step of Phase 1, gaining the people's trust and dedication before moving on to Phase 2, punishment and your success matters most. If there is no one to trust with secrets, your people will be less likely to rebel or break the laws as they know the chances of getting caught are higher than rebelling successfully. Orwell wrote, quote, they adored the party and everything connected with it. The songs, the yelling of slogans, the worship of Big Brother. It was all a glorious game to them. All their ferocity was turned outwards, against the enemy of the state, against the foreigners, traitors, saboteurs, thought criminals. The PBS documentary said, quote, we North Koreans are wise and very loyal. An uprising is still something we do not understand. The PBS documentary quickly followed with another quote saying, there can't be a rebellion. They'll kill everyone ruthlessly. Yes, ruthlessly. The problem here is that 1 in 3 people will secretly report you. That's the problem. That's how they do it. Step 5. Break those who do not comply with the laws. Now that you have shown your citizens the ropes and given them some time to adjust to all the changes, it is time to beat those who do not listen. 1984 says, quote, you asked me once, said O'Brien, what was in room 101. I told you that you knew the answer already. Everyone knows it. The thing that is in room 101 is the worst thing in the world. The worst thing in the world, said O'Brien, varies from individual to individual. It may be brutal alive, or death by fire, or by drowning, or by impalement, or 50 other deaths. There are cases where it is something quite trivial, not even fatal. 1 room or 1 building might not be enough if you have a big population. There are several ways to punish your people. North Korea decided to extend the consequences of crime on more than just the original offender. The PBS documentary states, quote, when I arrived at the prison camp, it was awful when I went inside. That day, they completely beat the hell out of me. They put a wooden stick behind your knees and make you sit down. If they pushed down on you, you'd collapse, and then you'd hear your kneecaps cracking. Step 6. Isolate goods from being accessed. It's tiring to run such a strict state all the time. The people never do anything for you. In order to keep things fair, you need to start taking some excess amount of goods and money from the people in return for your tough job. 1984 stated, the problem was how to keep the wheels of the industry turning without increasing the real wealth of the world. Goods must be produced, but they need not to be distributed.
The PBS documentary states, quote, North Korean state TV makes the country out to be a land of plenty. They show pictures of an advanced economy, happy, well-fed children, and shops overflowing with goods. Pyongyang's department store #1 is stocked with imported products from around the world, but as Jiro's footage shows, many of the items are not for sale.
Step 7. Victoriously rule with great power.